dirty. And we do have... Wow!
Oh no!
You gotta be kidding
Oh
me.
my goodness!
If you thought a road course race couldn't be dramatic, well, you haven't seen last week's race. Not only we had a late change for the lead, but also some big drama in the championship standings. And this fits considering we are only 3 races away from the beginning of the playoffs. But then it's in the future, we need to focus on the now, and now we have to race at a track that might make its return to real life NASCAR in the coming future. So let's see what racing might look like today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to qualifying for round 20 of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series. Hello everybody, my name is Alex Vitale. Welcome to Chicagoland Speedway, a track that, as I stated, might make its return back in the real-life NASCAR Cup schedule if Carson Hocevar is anything to go by. But, yeah, Chicagoland Speedway, it's a track that almost needs no introduction. It's a track that was introduced in 2001 alongside Kansas Speedway in that big, first big expansion for NASCAR in the period where it was turning into a mostly south-focused sport into the juggernaut that it became in the early 2000s, and also produces some really good racing. So yeah, we are at a premier and as I said, in a premier racing venue here, folks. And of course, one of the biggest things about Chicagoland Speedway is the fact that the backstretch, it's not really a backstretch but a curve. So this is almost a quad oval, you could say. So yeah, it's a particular oval that might make its return again if Carson Hocevar is right. But yeah, as for a completely different type of track that we raced at last week, that being Road America, what cannot be said about last week's race at Road America? And Gutierrez winning the race with 4 free laps to go when it looked like Nathan Stapleton had it in the bag. And of course, the big drama in the championship standings where Guillermo Vidal and Roberto Crone Jr. are now sharing the lead of the championship. Vidal being the first one due to the most poles. And they actually have, if I remember correctly, the same average finish, if I remember correctly. So that's even more impressive. And of course, they're both teammates at Checker Flag Motorsport. So, but it doesn't change the fact that, yeah, we got a tie at the top, which is something that I'm pretty sure not even the World Cup Series can say. I'm pretty sure that's something that even the World Cup Series can brag. So take that, AG. Of course, we're joking. Don't take this seriously. We're joking. Also, the World Cup Series is way more exciting than but you know what? I'm not going to continue. Let's just focus on what we're doing right now. But yeah, in terms of pre-qualifying, we're still at it's the usual suspects. So you've always Jack Haas's, Tanner Pardon's, Santa Mendoza's, not Carson Miller. Because Carson Miller, for a second week in a row, will skip pre-qualifying entirely and make it to the main event by default because he's in the top 35 he's in the top 35 in bonus points that is needed to automatically make it to qualifying. And in pre-qualifying, we're actually going to have an extra driver, a part-time driver once again. Last week it was Skep Silver. This week it's going to be William Donuts. So, yeah, there's a chance all 3 Aegis cars might make it onto the main event. But of course, we will see once the 5 minutes of pre-qualifying run out. And yes, we're back to 5 minutes of pre-qualifying because. Yeah, Road America was so long that the 5 minutes these guys wouldn't be able to make a single lap on the 5 minutes at Road America. But yeah. So, there's pretty much nothing else to be said other than let's start pre-qualifying, shall we? And it will be William Donuts, the first driver out on the track. Of course, as I stated, the particular thing about Chicagoland Speedway, the fact that the backstretch is not a real stretch, it's not straight. But still. Followed by is the Toyota of Antonio Mendoza, then it's Tanner Pardon and Jack Haas. As now Donuts begins his first lap here at Chicagoland Speedway. Into the back stretch as Pardon is entering the track. Of course, being the first driver, he will have the first lap, and it'll be a 30 flat. Next up is into Mendoza, as everybody else are completing their banker laps. Mendoza will score a 30.4. Next should be Tanner Pardon, and then it will be Jack Haas, if I'm not being mistaken. Now let's see what time is Pardon going to do. And Pardon does 30.5 for Tanner Pardon. For Haas, his second time, 30.2 for Jack Haas. There's Bradley Ream, Samaraskin. I think he was doing his banker lap. Yeah, he's also doing banker lap. So we are pretty much, everybody is going to finish his, every lap that these guys are going to do is official. No banker laps. Let's see if these two guys are going to do better times. Then Donuts does. So does Haas. Pardon doesn't, I think. Actually, no, Pardon. I think Pardon did. Let's see Oskan. What time is Oskan going to do? 30.6. And Gardner goes 4th. That's going to send his teammate out of pre-qualifying. Of course, Bradley Ream is the last one that has to do a time. 2 minutes left on the clock. Donuts is still leading, 29.7 for the 07 Aegis car. As Pardon betters his time once again, 29.9. Let's see Jack Haas, pretty flat for the Canadian driver. Let's see Antonio Mendoza and Samaraskin. Gardner goes second fastest, 29.9. As Mendoza is still in 4th and Oskin is still in 6th. Now Bradley Ream managed to lead his lap, and of course his last 30.6 for the 25 car. So right now Oskan and Ream will be out of pre-qualifying. Let's see if Oskan can better his time. He does not. Neither did Donuts and the Partner for that matter. Tight drafting these two guys. Gardner betters his time, but it's not by much. Let's see if Ream is gonna better his time. 30.2, still last and out of qualifying. 1 minute left on the clock. Let's see if these two guys actually got a better time. Pardon does, not by much. Jack Haas, right now is at the edge of being kicked out. And he'll stay in 5th. Oskan Mendoza and Gardner do not better their times. Bradley Ream does, but it's still last. 30 seconds left on the clock for these guys. Still no better time. Haas, no better time, is still at the edge of the top 5. Oskan, no better time for any of them actually, so no. Let's see what time is Bradley Ream going to do now. And nope, no better time. Of course, we'll have to wait until qualifying is actually over to see who's going to make it, because again, we have seen some late drama in qualifying. But that looks to be it, I would assume. Nobody's gonna get a better time right now, no. So that would mean William Donuts should be in the main event. So our Gardner, Pardon, Mendoza, and Haas. Still no better time. I don't think these guys actually got better times at all. Let's see, Gardner, Oskan, and Mendoza. Gardner doesn't, Oskan does not, neither does Mendoza. Bradley Ream. Now better time for the 25 car. And I believe this is going to be it. In fact, it is, in fact, it. So, William Donuts, Aubrey Gardner, Tanner Pardon, Hunter Mendoza, and Jack Cuss will be in the main event. While Samaraskan and Bradley Ream, unfortunately, will have to wait one more week at Willow Springs to make it onto the field. See you next week. And with that, see you in qualifying. And Roberto Crown Jr. will be the first one out on pit road, as is Nathan Stapleton and Reggie Fogelman. As we stated, Crown currently shares the lead of the championship with Gary Movidel. Of course, both teammates at Checker Flag Motorsport, so here Joe is definitely going to be happy about that. At least he's got one thing to be proud of, considering apparently the alliance in the World Cup Series did not go all that well. So at least he's got something to be proud of this year. In the meantime, more drivers are leaving. That's Parton and Luke Evans. Parton, who made it in pre-qualifying. And of course, Fogelman scores a banker lap. As does Blaine Keys. Around turn 4 goes Crown. And it's going to be 29.94. 29.94 and 29.84 Nicky Stapleton, 29.94 Roberto Crown Jr. Now the 37. Oh, now the Reggie Fogelman goes second fastest. Lane Keys goes third fastest. Crown drops down to fourth. Now Gardner is now in fifth. There's D'Amelio in fifth. And now Luke Evans is now scored pole position. Luke Evans scores pole position. Let's see Alexander Rowe, who has to score a time. As Gary Movidel is now on top of the leaderboards, the other championship leader. Now, did Rowe score a time? Yes, he did. He was now he's in 9th. Now he's in 10th. Because Crown better this time. Fogelman is in 5th. There's Jeffrey Finga in 4th as Justin Paris now scores pole position. Bit of a battle between Fogelman and Movidel. Now Fogelman manages to go second fastest, 29.5. And now, actually no, these two guys are now first and second. Movidel first and Fogelman second. Then is Paris. Then is going to be Crown in 4th. Evans is in 5th, and now Fingai scores pole position once again. But let's see if these guys have anything to say about it. And looks like they do not, at least now. As Paris now drops down to 4th. Fingai answers once again, and actually no. It wasn't Fogelman the answer. It was Will, who now goes up to second behind Fingai. Now Davidson is in 5th. Davidson is currently scoring in 5th. Stapleton drops down to 6th. Alford is in 7th. Now Alford is in 4th right now. Sloan is in 5th as we focus on Stapleton, who's currently in 8th. And actually might as well ask where is Gutierrez as now 5th spot that goes in 8th. I also ask where is last week's winner in Gutierrez. Gutierrez is 25th. But in the meantime, let's see Stapleton. What time Stapleton is going to do? He's out of the top 10 currently, and so looks to be his teammate Ryan Little in 10th. Actually, I just noticed that Fingai and Rowe have done the exact same time. As Rowe is dealing with the car William Donuts. Yes, Donuts managed to qualify, as you saw earlier. As now, where is Rowe? As now drops into the pits. Rowe is still in second. Movadell still in third. Finn Guy, where is Finn Guy? Finn Guy is there right behind the 27 of Bryce Egan, and ahead of Torres' car. The two Smart Motorsports cars of Torres and Evans. As Finn Guy is still holding on to the lead. Right out of the top 10 is Finn Guy, Rowe, Movadell, Sloan, Fitzwater, Davidson, Williams, Andrew Williams, Perez, Egan, and then Avery Alpha running at the top 10. And now the situation looks to have settled itself. There's Andrew Williams. Andrew Williams had a very solid race at Road America, and looked like a bit of a challenge for the win. And it was a challenging for the win. Then Gutierrez did that move with a couple laps left to run, and unfortunately had to settle for, I believe, second place. Yeah, it was second place. It was second place. The third was Stapleton. The fourth one was Troy Williams Jr. Amazing enough, a really good race for Troy Williams Jr. Actually, speaking of the devil, where is he? Where is Troy Williams Jr.? He is in 31st. So, yeah, not a good result for the 96 Checker Flag car. And actually, Crown dropped out of the top 10. I just noticed that. Crown is in 22nd. So, yeah, big fall of performance from the co-championship leader. Anytime there's Movadell using the drive from Ryan Little, but stuck in a better this time. Actually, speaking of Ryan Little, where he's currently 11th. Two spots better than his teammate. At least, actually, no, two spots better than his teammate. Stapleton in 13th, and then there's Gutierrez in second between them. 2:25 left on the clock. This man is still top of the leaderboards. Championship leader, and not the championship leader. Championship. I failed English so hard that it was like quiet for a few seconds. But what I meant is defending champion, who should be pretty much have his spot in the playoffs clinched. Even though he lost a bunch of places after the race of Road America, but his place should be safe in the top 10. In fact, we're actually going to talk about it a little bit in the playoffs and during the race, because again, we are 3 races away from the end of that. There's this race, Will Springs, and then Dover, and then it's playoff time. Of course, I know we would have gone into the playoffs a lot more earlier if my PC didn't die, if my original PC didn't die. But yeah, that was a voice crack in the meantime. But yeah, 1 minute and 50 left on the clock, and the situation hasn't really changed. The finger is still leading, second is still Alexander Rowe, third is Movadell, fourth is Sloan, fifth is Fitzwater, then is Davidson, that is Williams, Perez, Egan, and Avery Alford running up the top 10. So we got a Ford, a Chevrolet, Ford, Chevrolet, and Chevrolet. There's not a Toyota in the top 10 right now. In fact, the first Toyota is in 11th in Ryan Little. All Fords and Chevys in the top 10. There's Alexander Rowe, currently in second. 1 minute 10 left on the clock. Is in the draft from Gutierrez, and the third draft from Kalasastroy. 1 minute left on the clock. And let's see who's running up the rear of the field. And those are Skylar Taylor and Tanner Parton. As William Donuts is in 36th. Actually, let's check out the results of the part-timers. Not the part-timers, of the drivers that did qualifying. And as we said, Tanner Parton isn't dead last. Mendoza is in 38th. Donuts is in 36th. Haas is in 35th. Gardner is in 33rd. And then Ream did not qualify, of course, and neither did Saladaskin, so they're out immediately. And Carson Miller, of course, is not in pre-qualifying. For the second week in a row, will not be in pre-qualifying, as I believe Fitzwater is now up to 5th place. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for the for qualifying, unless some major drama happens, but I doubt it. We're at the last 30 seconds left for qualifying. Any possible miracle? Maybe. The answer looks to be no, as we focus on the driver is going to start on pole position for tomorrow's race in Jeffrey Finguy. 3 wins on the season for the defending champion. Same with Stapleton. Let's see if he can make it a 4th tomorrow. And that is going to be it for qualifying. And of course, Jeffrey Finguy has the best seat in the house, starting in pole position. So that wish of a 4th win is already one step bigger than he should. A step bigger is already the easy part is now done. Not now done for Finguy. Then Alexander Rowe is in second. A great result for Alexander Rowe. Scored the same time as Finguy did. Then it's Guillermo Vidal, Tom Sloan, Zachary Fitzwater, Zane Davidson, Andrew Williams, Justin Paris, Bryce Egan, and Avery Alford rounding up the top 10. And Skylar Taylor and Tanner Parton rounding out the rear of the field with the 58 car in 39th and the 97 in 40th. And so Jeffrey Finguy and Alexander Rowe will start on pole position for the McDonald's 400, scoring the same time. I would suddenly jump to 1997, and if you get the joke, you win no extra points, but you're gonna get my respect. And rounding up the rear of the field is Skylar Taylor and Tanner Parton, 39th and 40th respectively. So yeah, there's pretty much nothing else to be added other than this has been a special presentation of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series 47 Network. I'm Alex Vitale, and see you tomorrow for the race. So long, everybody, from Chicagoland.